Welcome to the show, everyone. We've had a great week networking in here. I am really excited about bringing on my first guest, who's also been on with me many times. And I love what he does as a giveaway because it's Carol Bucks. Wait till you hear what we're going to be doing here. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us, and we're going to be sharing the show in just a little bit. I have with me Joel Reissner, and he is you're a partner of Paulson and Reissner. And tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, what we're going to talk about today. But big time, let's talk about those big bucks, because you know what? A lot of people can use them right now.
Well, especially given today's crisis with the pandemic and COVID, I definitely want to give a discount to all your listeners and really help out that community. So we're offering a $250 value in Carol Bucks. So you call into the show, you say, hey, I'd like to get a referral for Paulson and Reissner, and that's good on any product that we provide. So from a full estate portfolio to doing a simple will, to doing a life care package, $250 straight off the bat, no questions asked, simply because they're listening to this great show that we have here with Carol.
Well, I appreciate that. What I want people to understand is what we're talking about here is so important, especially right now. A lot of people out there, well, you've been putting your heads in the sand over all of this stuff for a long time, but you know, with this COVID going around, it has really made people start to think, you know, geez, I better start making sure I have things taken care of.
Absolutely.
Estate planning, we want to talk a little bit about from the beginning, like we wanted to go back from the beginning. Let's just kind of go over that part of what you want to talk about. And then what I want to do is I'm going to open up the lines of the audience for everyone to call in for their $250 Carol Bucks. And, you know, kind of give everybody the idea of what they should be thinking about right now. And if you do second opinions and all that kind of stuff too.
Absolutely. So, my law firm, I'm a partner in a law firm, and we are experts in estate planning and probate. So we will take an estate plan, if you already have one, do a free review to make sure that's still up to snuff. I always call it dust off the trust to make sure that it's still doing what you want it to do. That's absolutely free. We'll write written recommendations, and then that way if it's something that you want to move forward, then we can proceed from there. Also from scratch, if you've never had an estate plan done, and as you were earlier saying about the COVID-19, now's a really important time, and it puts in perspective what if factor. My office has an uptick in, unfortunately, in probate cases because people have failed to plan. And if you fail to plan to fail.
Right, you know, hey, you said it right there, and there's a lot of people who are very famous who also don't plan. I don't know why people do this, and they have lawyers. I don't understand that, but it happens a lot. People, this is so important, the information that you hear here, and that, again, is what I love about my show. It's information, but what they're wanting to do is help you through this. You know, give you that $250 towards whatever it is that you choose to do, whether it is, whatever you said.
We have a life care package which takes care of everything prior to death. So that would be your durable power of attorney, your medical power of attorney, and in Arizona, your mental health care power of attorney. Also, it would take care of any nominations for guardian conservatorship if you need to go down that road. And so it takes those documents take care of everything prior to death, and then that's why I call the life care package. And then anything after that, a will package or a full trust portfolio will take care of everything prior to death, and if we make that little denomination, everything after death. So the
important.
whole portfolio.
Now, we've got our lines open here. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And everyone that's calling in, they're giving you a $250 Carol Bucks towards whatever it is that you use. And you even told me one time when you were working with people, sometimes it turns out that it kind of washes depending on which one that they're doing.
Absolutely. So let me give you a kind of a typical price for our product. So a life care package typically costs $500, and then a will package typically costs $1,000, and then a trust package for a family typically costs $2,000. So when you put that in perspective, if all you're looking for is, say, a life care package for your graduate who's going to college,
what a great gift.
and you get that done, it's only going to cost you $250 to make sure that you have that peace of mind that if your graduate goes into the hospital, you're able to take care of him.
And
because he's over the age of 18, and now he's an adult, and guess who is not going to get their medical records if they don't have a HIPAA release?
It's so important, guys, especially right now. Please listen up. We've got our lines open here. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Check them out. They're at prlawteam.com. You can call them direct. The number is 623-428-1923. Tell them that you heard it on the show and you're getting that $250 worth of Carol bucks, and they'll give it right to you to make sure that you make it easy on everybody else. Now, you are located here, but you can help anyone in the United States.
I typically would help everyone in Arizona, simply because my licensing is for Arizona. My partner also has a license for Minnesota, so we do handle that. But we can do forms for anybody in the United States. They just wouldn't have the same, it would be more of, here's the document, you need to take care of funding that trust.
Well, let's talk a little bit about types of trusts.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
So the typical one a family would need is a revocable living trust, meaning you put your assets into the trust, and so upon the passing, they get distributed to where you want them to go. Also, it would be you're able to amend that trust or change it or revoke it in its entirety, depending on the situation that you're in. So let's say you have to change the trustee who because he passed away prior to you. No problem. That's something that we simply can do and help with making sure that that trust works the way you want it to go. Also, trusts have a protection benefit. And one example, I'll give you an example that happened in real life. I also do bankruptcy. And one of my clients was going through bankruptcy and her parents passed away. They had pretty much everything done except for a trust. They had a beneficiary account, so one of the life insurance policies. She was designated as one of the beneficiaries. They cut him a check for $100,000. The bankruptcy trustee said thank you and took it away. If they had a trust set up, it would have went into the trust, and then we could have said, this is not your money until you're done with the bankruptcy, and it would have protected that $100,000 inheritance.
Wow, that's so important, especially, listen up, people. And these kinds of things happen all the time. I love when people tell stories. We've got our lines open here, and our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. I know it sounds like we're giving away a weed whacker, here, but we're not. We're giving away money, $250 worth of Carol bucks, for you to get some peace of mind and make sure that everything that you're doing and have even done before, because dust those things off, life changes all the time, especially with what's going on right now. Give us a call here, get your $250 Carol bucks so that you can get some peace of mind from them. 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. So does somebody need both a will and a trust?
It's always good to have a will and a trust. And in the business, we call this a pour-over will. What that is a catch-all. In case we fail to put something into the trust and we have to go to probate. Say you bought another piece of property and you didn't call me and say, Joel, I need to put this in my trust, but it's in your name and you pass away. The pour-over will say, hey, put it into my trust. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to probate that. However, it's a catch-all. It's like a safety net. But at least you
know that you have something there, like you said, a safety net. Let me tell you guys, I got burned really badly, and if it happened to me, it can happen to anyone. And unfortunately, people, this is for you. When you pass away, it's not only they know that you have had these things taken care of the way you wanted them done, and then of course for everybody at the end, when it's done like this, you don't have to go to probate. And believe me, you don't want to have to do that. We're giving away $250 worth of Carol bucks to everyone who's calling in. The number, call 602-277-5369. So we're going to keep on talking because we're still live on Facebook. So I want to continue with that. So when you're working with people, and you say to me that you have a lot of people that are right now, especially with them having money issues. So you do both that as well, the DK as well.
Yes.
How often do you see that happens, where didn't take care of that, and
So
the money gets taken.
I see it happen often, but it's not really. It doesn't where the plan isn't done. But parents don't die usually when their kids are going through a bankruptcy. So it doesn't. That exact example doesn't happen often, but it happened enough to where I have experienced it.
Sure.
So I have firsthand knowledge on if their parents had a trust set up instead of, and their parents tried their best to do the best planning they can without an attorney, and there's lots of mechanisms that you can do that are outside of probate. And a beneficiary designation on a life insurance policy is outside of probate. So you don't have to probate that, but it was simply, here's a check, $100,000, oh, you're in bankruptcy. Bankruptcy trustee intercepted it and said, thank you, it's going to your credit.
Yeah. What is the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to their, with their estate planning?
The biggest mistake people make is putting their children on the deeds of their home. And let me go into that a little bit for your Facebook listeners. If you put your child on the deed of your home, they miss out on that step up in tax basis, because now it's not an inheritance. It's as if they bought that home when your parents bought the home, and then when they go to sell it, there's a capital gains tax now. And that's 35%, I believe. So
Interesting that you said that.
it's better to inherit property than it is to be part of that property, and then if your parents pass away, you get it. You don't have to go to probate, but now you don't have that step up in tax basis from when
huge.
your parents die, and that's huge. It could
is
be
huge.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Interesting that you said that, because my ex-mother-in-law was planning, I don't know whether they're still doing that or not, putting the names of the grandchildren on
On the
the
deeds,
house,
yeah.
on the house, so that when it's sold, that's what they were gonna do, is give them the money, but, it could also put them in a bad position. Some of them are 40 and some odd years old. They're
Yeah,
not just all little babies.
Absolutely. And the tax might wipe out anything they would have got.
Wow.
So we hope to
Tell them
avoid
that.
that.
We have our lines open here, and today we're giving away, this is huge, and this gives you peace of mind. For everyone that's calling in is getting $250 worth of Carol bucks to put towards the peace of mind of having your estate plan done, whether, however those needs are for you. He can cover almost any area, and you can put that towards your, whatever it is he does for you. And what a great gift that you're giving to everybody, that gift of peace of mind. And our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Again, people, listen to me. If you have them, even if you think they're done, and I don't need to look at that. No, yes you do.
Yep.
You need to bring them out. You need to, like you said, dust them off, and have him take a second set of eyes at it. We were just talking just now, and I'm going to tell my ex-mother-in-law about that, because something that you were bringing up, which made me think, I think she did that could be a big mistake for her. A lot of things that people hear here, this is, if it's not for you, tell someone about it, because that's what I like about networking. That's what it is. So, okay, we were talking a little bit about how the pour over kind of will works. Okay, and so somebody needs to have one, whether or not, they don't need to know when they do, they just need to. Does it matter whether they have home? Do people also think that they need to have a lot of money when they're going to do this?
Some do, but that's not the case.
No.
In Arizona, there's qualifications to go to probate. If you own a piece of real property that's valued at $100,000, even with a will giving it to whoever, you have to go through that probate process. That means you have to have the judge bang a gavel, say you can transfer this person's property, and that person can say, okay, I transfer it to the whoever the will states. That on average is a 2-year process for the probate. So it's not very fun. It's as close to HELL hockey sticks as you could possibly get. If we can avoid it at all possible costs, we want to do that. But that's why there's that pour over will. It's that safety net in case we have to.
Probate. Okay, explain kind of really what that is, and how often does that happen?
So I believe there's close to 20,000 pending probate cases in the state of Arizona. So it happens quite a bit because people fail to plan. And since and probate is not, it's an easy concept. It simply means to prove that I own this person who died stuff. And it's just a process. It's saying, okay, there's a person who died, he has stuff, who's going to be his representative to distribute his stuff to where it's supposed to go. And so the concept's easy, but because there's so many pending cases, and of course they're so backed up, and with COVID-19, you might as well triple, like quadruple
sure.
that problem. It takes some time. And then there's also built-in time frames for different notices for creditors and whatnot.
Well, I say this all the time. To me, if I could get hurt like this, and people, when money's involved, unfortunately, people change. You could be the nicest person in the world, and somehow, and even with its blood family members, I'm sorry, it's even worse.
Well, and I often consider probate divorce with dead people because it can get that complicated. And I've never seen like the intermediate. It was either everyone's on the same page and they all get along, or you have 5 or 6 people fighting over some really silly items, and it's going to ruin relationships.
It usually is if you were fighting beforehand, before anyone passed away, you're going to count on it happening double that afterwards. We've got our lines open here, and everyone who's calling in, and we're going to let you call throughout the rest of the show for it. We want you to have peace of mind. $250 worth of Carol bucks right here from me and from Joel here. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Call in and get it. Check them out on their website, prlawteam.com. You can also call them direct, and you can tell them you heard it on the show. That number is 623-428-1923. So what assets does somebody put into a trust?
So you title assets to a trust, especially real property. So you want to think of it as a quasi owner. So when you title assets, you, instead of being John and Jane Doe, husband and wife, is John and Jane Doe trustees of the John and Jane Doe trust who owns it, and therefore the trust is then liable to control that property. And then in a trust, you have successor trustees, whomever you want to choose to manage that trust.
Some people have more than one home,
Correct.
too. Okay. Does it start getting sticky the more you own?
No, a trust can handle all that. The only time it really gets sticky is if you meet what we call the marital deduction. And right now I forget the exact number, but it's about 11 million bucks. So if you have more than 11 million
I want to
bucks,
meet you.
I want to meet you too, and we'll have a good, steak and barbecue, and I can help you with that estate plan. It might cost a little more because it's a lot different.
Right.
It's a different ballgame.
Listen, when you have a lot of money like that, everything, it changes. It does up the game a little bit.
Does.
Now we've got our lines open here for everyone. Everyone is getting the $250 Carol bucks to put towards it, whether it's your will, your trust. You said what was the package?
It's a life care package.
Life care package.
And those are the 3 packages that we have. And if you get a trust, you get everything else. If you get a will, you get everything, the life care. So the starting package is the life care package.
Okay, and again, we've got our lines open here for you to call in and get that $250 Carol bucks from us. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And he helps anyone in the state of Arizona. Okay, so what does not then go into the trust?
So you wouldn't put into a trust, everything essentially goes in the trust, but it's at the time of death. So we do what we call an assignment of property. That says, hey, I want my couches, I want the coin collection, things that don't have title or that don't have a lot of value. Those would go into an assignment, and then when you pass away, it's saying, hey, I give all my stuff to the trust and the trustee to distribute.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that you wouldn't fund into a trust right away.
Before we go, I want to talk about something that came to my mind too.
Mm-hmm.
Once this is all taken care of and you've got all the paperwork done and you've filed everything, where should they keep everything?
Usually in a safe and secure location that they know about, and let your family know about it too, because there's been times where people are looking for an estate portfolio or some sort of plan and they just don't know where it is.
Do they need, because now we live in such a strange world, you know, to make sure that nothing happens at the end, that everything goes smooth, do they need to make sure, let's say, that they keep it on file with either, you know, like a bank or anything like that, or does it really matter?
In Arizona, there's no requirement to record a trust.
Okay.
In some other states, there are requirements. So if you are in another state, I would recommend that you look at the local rules and find out if you have to register that trust or register it's usually with a registrar of deeds.
Okay, let's talk about power of attorney,
Okay.
because those are pretty important.
They're absolutely important. I'm going to give you an example of one of my clients who, unfortunately, his son had a major accident. He just turned 18. Mom couldn't get medical records because he just turned 18 and the hospital said, sorry, I can't. It's HIPAA law. They're not your records because he's an adult. If she had power of attorney of this child and he was a college-age student, and this is why I plug, if you have college-age children going, talk to us so that you can at least have that paperwork put in place. Unfortunately, with this particular incident, it was we had to go get a guardianship over this poor person, or this child, so that mom could simply get medical records.
Wow. It's so important. One of the biggest papers that you need to take care of is the power of attorney.
It's
also
huge.
just for yourself too, to make sure. A lot of people, you may think that you it's not about money and it's not about even some of your stuff. Really what it is what you want. What about what you want to happen with you? God forbid something happens to you, right?
Absolutely. And a power of attorney allows an individual to do that while you're alive.
Yes.
And allows them to manage those funds in your best interest. And people say, well, what if they abuse a power of attorney? Sure, it's possible, but whoever holds that power of attorney also holds a fiduciary duty. And what that means is they are held to a legal standard to work in your best interest. And if it's a problem, then you sue them through the courts.
Now you do free consultations, and right now he's offering for everyone that calls in throughout the rest of the show too, to get these $250 Carol bucks to put towards your peace of mind, whether or not you need the trust, whether you want both. Most people should have both anyway, or just the package for even your 18-year-old. I'm sorry, but I do think that that's a great thing, especially right now. Listen, we are great time to be talking about it.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids are going off to college right now. Peace of mind. If you already have had one done and you think you're all done, dust them off and get it out and make sure that they are done right. They are professionals in this area, and also they will look at it and do a second opinion for you. That number to call them direct at 623-428-1923. Call us here, get your Carol bucks at 602-277-5369.